Mr. B, confused, replies to her, "But we're in the middle of a country lane in the middle of nowhere." With a very stern but almost blank look on her face, the girl responds by saying, "Stop the car. This is where we leave."
A few minutes later, I heard my brother scratching. But the scratching was very unnerving because he was scratching way too hard. Like he was scratching his skin off.
My mum said to my dad that because he was the closest to the door, he would have to go see if anybody was there. Yeah, that's a really good point. My dad said he could see the outline of a body through the gap under the door, but when he opened it, nobody was there. Welcome to episode 73 of Ghost Huns. Honey Ghosts.
Chicas del Espíritu.
Oh, we do
Yeah.
this whole thing in Spanish.
Sí.
I'd like a go of it.
Yo soy Susi y tú eres Hannah.
Ah!
Sí. ¿Cómo estás, Hannah?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
See?
2, please.
Dos.
2 of them. That sounds great.
Dos cervezas.
2 of them, love.
Lovely.
Well, I would ask if you're well, but I know you are because we've been together since the last episode. There's a break in the fourth wall. Got the same clothes on.
No.
Pretty obvious.
No, actually, it's been a week.
We record week after week. So I think for all you that hate the fucking intro, you're in luck.
we do sound like we've got a problem with that, but listen, it's
No,
fine.
I don't mind, you fucking miserable bastards. No, it's fine.
Now I can't work out the difference between your and
No,
your actual laugh.
neither
They
can
blend,
I.
They blend.
That's the problem.
Oh
Shall we do tarot?
yes, please. Yeah. Pick a
Okay.
and really think about it. Okay.
I'm gonna
Just
do you know
really
what?
fucking think
what
about
I do is I
it.
go over it and I feel like it's like a little spark.
Yeah. I want you to really don't go with the first thing. Really think about it. Okay? Get
Ooh,
them
something happens
claws, get
here.
them paws.
I had my eyes closed. There was a little flash in my eyes here.
Oh my god. Okay, what's that going to be?
Yeah, I think it was that
This,
one.
I think this is going to be a life-changing card for the pod. What is it?
The fucking Knight of Cups again.
Oh god.
Which is weird that we keep bringing the same ones
Yeah.
because how many cards are there in a deck?
Oh, fucking Knight of Cups. He's the one who's holding his fucking goblet out,
Yeah.
wanting more. He always wants more.
How
But he's quite a sexy
how
one,
many?
isn't he?
He's quite fit. Yeah. How many?
Yeah.
How many cards are in a deck of tarot? A décolletage tarot.
Like
a deck of tarot.
73 or something. Oh my god, we just looked at each other very
What?
shocked. If you didn't,
How many? No, but seriously, how many tarots?
how
I'm going to
many
Google it. I'm sorry, I'm going to
da-
have to find out because that's weird.
That is
how many?
weird. Oh my god,
Oh.
78.
Okay, so not that weird.
So that would have been weird if we were on episode 78.
Yeah, it would have been. Well, that's
But I did say this was like this is good because it's
great.
I pictured about a homecoming, a return to his true heart's home after a long journey. Like the prodigal son,
like
he
the
may be
tour.
returning after a long estrangement from all he holds dear. His taste for adventure is exhausted. There's no more romanticising of battles or travelling in strange lands. He wants to go where he'll be recognised, wanted and welcome. I think you're right. This is after the tour.
Here's the other one that I was going to pick.
Was it up?
It's him again. Lots of cups.
Lots of fucking
Our
blokes.
cups are going to be very full. Lots of gay men and
Lots of gay men
wine.
with goblets and wine.
That's
That is,
so
to be
on
fair, we
brand.
know so many gay men with goblets
We've got
and
so
wine
many gay men. We've got so many gay men. They're not our
in our
possessions.
lives. I was going to
Fucking
say, was it upside down or facing up?
This one was upside down.
No, the first one. We've got to go with the first one. Do you remember?
I think it was right way up.
Was it right way
I
up?
think it was. Yeah.
In
But this
which
was upside
case,
down.
you just got to jump into your new situation with both feet.
Well, yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Maybe that means merch.
Yeah. Don't be tempted to run away again. This is where you belong, Hannah. All right?
When did I
So
run
if
away?
you fucking run away and
If
do
you
another
leave.
podcast.
I did want to tell Susie that I was going to start a new podcast. I was going to do it for April Fools and go really. I was going to call you and say I had a new name. Like I was going to go and do my
yeah, but the
podcast on
thing
my
is,
own.
I used to all the time on April Fools tell my friends I was pregnant, and it always worked. And I was like, I got bored with how like
Yeah,
fucking
boring.
they always believed it. They're like,
Yeah.
Susie, really? And I was like, oh,
No,
it's
it's
not
April
fun anymore
Fools.
because you don't get it. And I think,
And now they have kids. They're like, oh, that's great.
I know, and it's like,
And now everyone's like, you can't say that because of people that can't have kids.
So I don't prank anyone anymore because, and also I did one that was bad.
What? What did you do?
Well, it's not that bad. It was just my mate and her. It's an ex-boyfriend now, but when they were together, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be really funny? We were away on holiday. We were skiing, I think, and I was like, why didn't you tell the others that you got engaged on the mountain? That'd be so funny. And she kind of went along with it, but he never wanted to get married, and she did. So it was a bit of, and the whole thing was awful because I was like, oh my God, and she just went along. She was like, yeah, and we both went along with this April Fools, and then our like closest mates were like, oh my, we're so happy for you. I know this is what you've wanted, and that he does it. And then I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm a dreadful person. And so bad. And I was like,
this is so funny.
I am so sorry. You know, I take them too far.
No, I think that's really funny. I think that is so off brand for you.
Yeah,
it's like, great joke. And then it's like, oh, it's ruining life.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. It's so awful. But she kind of went along with it because I was so enthusiastic
were
about it.
Were you the one that then started the conversation of like, I don't want to get married?
Yeah.
Well, listen, you probably saved her a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a low moment.
That's so funny.
We don't
That
talk
is
about it again,
very
apart
funny.
from here.
I remember my dad,
podcast.
I don't know, was this an April Fool's? But he told me that Charlie Simpson from Busted was gay, and I cried because I actually thought that I had a
love
chance with
lost.
him.
It's like those K-pop stars who can't ever come out. It's like they're under contractual obligation, no matter what the sexuality is. Yeah, because it's all these like basically teenagers like you that if you found out he was gay, then
well, I wouldn't have not liked him. I just was sad that he would never fancy me.
I know, but it might put you off buying an album, and they can't deal with that.
Well, I did the same. Well, he wasn't gay, but I did have the same with, Will from Pop Idol. Will, what's his name?
Will Young.
Will Young. Really funny, bit weird story, actually, very quickly. I once read that Will Young slept on his front.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So I trained myself for months to sleep on my front so that we had something in common. And now I still do
So
it.
you're like a talking point for when we sleep in the same bed. And you're like, oh, look at you.
Be like, oh, we both. I trained the night I had sleepless nights. Yeah,
it's
that's
so bad
mad,
for you to
innit?
sleep on your front as well.
I always sleep on my front now.
Do you?
I can't sleep on my back. I always thought it was bad for you to sleep on your back.
No, your front.
Why?
I've trained myself to do vampire
Oh,
on
really?
my back. Yeah.
Oh, I can't. I have to be on my side in a
you?
fetal position.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Anyway, Will Young, if you're listening,
that's so funny.
That's creepy, isn't it? It's creepy kid vibes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was about 12. But I fancied
and then
him
it'll just
so
be like a little
much.
fact sheet and smash hits, and you'll have been like,
Yeah,
that.
and I remember him saying that he hated being on planes because he couldn't sleep on his front, and he always had to sleep on his front. And I was like, ah!
Yes, I remember in oh my God, I can't remember. I think it was Smash Hits, and it said Gary Barlow. It's like, what annoys you? And he said, I hate it when people are reading a book on the tube and then they laugh at something out loud, and I don't know what they're laughing about. And for ages, I took that on as a personality trait. I was like, I hate it.
Yeah.
And you're trying, you
so
try on
rude.
personalities, and you're like,
Actually, that's quite nice for people to read on the tube.
I completely agree. I think Gary Barlow's a fucking
Gary
dick for saying-
I've heard that Gary Barlow's a cunt.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No, I have heard it though. I've heard he's a bit of a
Really?
bastard. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Just saying.
Yeah, I can kind of believe that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we?
Would you like a creep of the week?
Yes, please.
So as you know, guys, if you're just coming in, hot off the press, and you're like, what is
Hot
Ghost
off the
Huns?
press.
Creep of the week, we're doing our listener story special. This is our third
Gorgeous.
listener story special.
Next week we'll be back to business as usual.
Yes.
But we've thought we'd get some out,
Yeah.
and they've
Because
been
we
great.
want to tell your stories. They're fucking...
They've been amazing.
They're really good, and they're all true. So make of that what you will. Okay, this is from Maya. Hi, I love your TikToks, and it has made me want to share my own ghostly experience with you. I saw my neighbour's ghost. When I was younger, I lived in a very small neighbourhood where everyone knew each other. On weekdays after school and weekends, all of the kids in the neighbourhood would play together. We'd play games like Manhunt, 40-40 in, and Ding Dong Ditch.
Oh, that's the ring bell, ringing neighbours' bells.
Knockdown Ginger.
Yeah, same vibes.
In the neighbourhood, there were a few elderly people who would usually be walking their dogs or watering their plants in the front garden, and it was normal for them to say hello as we ran around and even offer us some biscuits. There was this one neighbour, I'll name her Dory for privacy reasons and respect for her family. Everyone loved Dory. She was so kind and welcoming. If she needed help with taking the shopping to her house, the kids would offer a hand, and if she couldn't get to the shops, we went for her because we go there anyway to get our pick and mix with our pocket money. One day, I decided to walk around as it was really warm and the house was too hot to be in. On my walk around the neighbourhood, I saw Dory watering her plants and I walked over to say hello. She seemed very happy to see me and she said she had something for me to share with everyone. I watched as she went inside her house and waited for her to come back out. I assumed it was some biscuits or a bag of sweets, as that is what she'd usually give to the neighbourhood kids. I waited for a few more minutes and watched as she came back out with a carrier bag, the plastic kind you get from the shop. She handed it to me and said that her own children were too grown up and that we kids would make better use of it. I looked inside the bag and realised what she was referring to. Inside the bag were a few worn baseballs, a skipping rope, frisbee, and a box that had some stencils for drawing. I found it odd at first, as Dory had never given us something like this before, but I quickly shrugged it off and believed the fact that her children, who were probably in their 30s or 40s, no longer had any use for these objects. I thanked her for the bag of toys and made my way back to my house to show my mum and my brother what I'd been given. When I got into the house and rushed to my mum to say that I just saw Dory, she gave me a confused look. "What do you mean you saw Dory?" my mum asked. "I was walking around and I saw Dory watering the plants, so I went over to say hello and she gave me this bag of stuff," I replied. "Are you sure it was Dory?" my mum questioned. "Well, obviously, who else would it have been? Sue?" I laughed, thinking my mum was joking. "Honey, Dory passed away 5 days ago, and no one's been in the house since." My heart dropped, and I looked down at my hand to see the bag of items still in my hand. Dory passed away, then who gave me the bag of toys? Not long after this, we moved house, and we forgot about Dory. It's been 8 years since this encounter, and I still have a few of the things she gave me, so it makes me wonder if I did see Dory, or if it was a random lady. I reached out to a few of the kids who lived in the neighbourhood and asked them if they remembered Dory. All of them did, and they all said how much they missed her. I asked them if they remembered when she passed, and all of them said yes. But one turned round and said, "I didn't know she passed away. It wasn't until one day I saw her watering her plants, and when I went over to say hello, she said she had a surprise for me, gave me a few dolls and action men, and when I went home and showed them to my parents, they told me she couldn't have because she'd passed away." My blood ran cold when I read the text, and then I knew I wasn't the only one who saw her too.
I want to know who Sue is.
Who's Sue? There's so
So
many
it
good
feels like an
characters in
in-joke,
here.
that
Yeah.
one, wasn't it?
What,
Like,
you think it was
who's going to
fucking
be
Sue? Yeah, I know. Yeah. The local dinner lady.
Oh, Sue, Dory. I love, there's something about nostalgia, the creepy nostalgia that gives me the warm and fuzzies. Even if it's about ghosts and witches. We used to have this, we used to say there was like this, there was a witch that lived in a house and we were shit scared of it and the things we imagined from it. And it was only because they had a little witch thing on the side of the house, like a little
Yeah, a bit like,
black witch thing.
honestly,
There was
because we didn't have smartphones. So we're like, look at that little statue of the witch. And then suddenly it's like 7 weeks of
and running around the graveyard.
play.
Yeah. There's a really good book actually by Richard Layla. It's not as disgusting as the one we read on Huns After Dark. And it's called The Travelling Vampire Show. And that's like around a few young kids.
Yeah.
And it's really nostalgic and it's really good. And it's a bit spooky and a bit paranormal. And go and read it because it is good. Just like, you know, going round in your cut-off shorts and your Converse that are filthy dirty from all the running around and jumping in trees and whatever. I just love all that shit. Me too. Maybe we should just go and do it.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go climb
Never
a tree
too old.
with a bottle
Well,
of Savvy B and a
we did
cigarette.
that. Do you remember I hopped out of a fucking base of a tree for
We did actually. We got very
not
naturey.
Huns After Dark. What would we call it?
Well,
It was Huns After Dark.
it was
Yeah.
a ghost hunt.
Ghost hunt. Okay, please give me the Canepa of the week, please.
What's that mean? Oh.
What's that mean? What is your
Wait,
English?
can I ban away? I thought it was like,
Away.
it's that scary story in German. Hi guys, love your pod. My story is below. When I was 13 and in year 8 in secondary school, one of the deputy head teachers, we'll call him Mr. B, went off work for months and never returned. The reason why still haunts me to this day. Lots of hours disappeared, to be honest, but one of them was beautiful. That was why. Hopefully not Mr. B. He got imprisoned. To give some background, Mr. B was the scariest deputy head in the school. He was small in height, short king. But if you did something wrong, he'd speak to you in a calm but very stern voice, and his eyes would pop out of his head. I assume, not literally. It was like he was staring into your soul. Everyone in the school was scared of him. Even the regular troublemakers would behave around him. Anyway, out of the blue, he disappeared. He was fine one day, and then the next, he just wasn't there anymore. He was around his late 50s or early 60s, so we all put it down to ill health. A few months after he disappeared, I was in a one-to-one tutor session with one of the teachers.
A one-to-one?
Tutor session. Tutor session. Oh, tuition session. With one. I assume that's like...
Oh, when you get like extra help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With one of the teachers who was good friends with him outside of the school, but also good friends with my mum. He came up in conversation. It's very relaxed teacher-student chat, isn't it? He came up in conversation and I asked her if she'd heard from him and how he's doing. She looked at me a bit sheepish and said she'll tell me if I promise not to tell anyone. I promised not to. She tells me that the week before he stopped coming in, he was working really late one night. It was terrible weather outside and he could hear the rain lashing on his office window. He decided to wait for it to calm, but it just didn't stop.
I'm imagining the rain. Can you hear it?
I love the rain.
Can you just hear it? Like
Yeah.
the SFX?
Lashing. It was really lashing yesterday, actually.
Oh, I am obsessed with rain.
Me too. The big fat drops.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I'm obsessed. I love the rain. I love the sun. I love the seasons.
Yeah, I do.
I couldn't live somewhere where there's no seasons.
Yeah, seasonless.
Like, I loved winter as well.
And
I like
I love seasoning.
I love... No, me too.
Carry on before I say
I don't think I could... I don't think I could eat, like, loads of things without salt. Okay.
Can I just say,
So boring.
last night I made a mushroom and walnut bolognese.
Oh.
Don't judge it. It was fucking amazing.
Well, no meat?
No meat. It's like meatless spag bol. And I bet you, if I served it to you and I said there was beef in it, you'd probably go, yeah, all right.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good.
From what? Did you grate it all down?
So you get a food processor, you
Yeah.
whack in your...
So you turn it into a bit of a mush.
Yeah, you whiz up mushrooms, walnuts, red onion, a carrot, garlic, whiz it up.
Whiz it up.
Then you fucking
Right.
fry it up. Then you whack in your canned tomatoes,
Oh,
shove in your seasonings, your herbs.
Herbs.
Honestly, that and then Bob's your uncle. You just need one of those veg stock pot gels and a bit of soy sauce.
Do you know what though? I
Fucking
do feel like
delicious.
I'm not as full when I don't have the protein.
Oh, no. It's fucking great.
Really?
Honestly.
I do love all those ingredients, to be fair.
Well, I'll make it for you.
Okay, great. I'm
Sorry,
into that.
carry on.
No,
Mr. B.
I'm hungry now. I'm hungry.
Hmm.
Okay, so Mr. B is in his office. The rain is lashing down. He decided to wait for it to calm, but it just didn't stop. Mr. B decided to leave the school at around 9 p.m. That's fucking late. It was winter, so it was really dark and cold. He lives quite a distance from the school, so his normal route home has mainly country lanes. As he's driving alone in the rain, he notices a house situated on its own that he's never noticed before. He drives this route every single day, so why is he only noticing this house now? He believes it's probably because he's just so tired and focused on getting home after work that he's never noticed it before. As the thought begins to leave his mind, a young girl, around the age of 17, runs out in front of him to stop him. It's country lane, so he's going national speed limit and very nearly hits it. It's like 70 miles an hour.
Bloody hell.
Luckily, he's managed to swerve just in time and misses her. He pulls up at the side of the road and asks if she's okay. She's with a boyfriend and they're both soaking wet from the rain. She says, "I'm so sorry, sir. We've been at that house," pointing to the house he'd never noticed before, "for for my friend's birthday. Our lift has drank too much and now he can't drive us home. Would you mind taking us? We're only 20 minutes down the road.
Don't let them in.
Don't
That's
be
my first.
polite.
That's my
Leave. Call the police.
I'm
Call
sorry,
the police.
Mr. I know that he's the older man. He's a responsible
I'd call the police.
teacher, but just don't let the fucking creepy
I would
17-year-olds.
say, no, I'm going to drive away now, but I will call the police and get them to come and collect you and take you home.
That's scary though. What if they're like, please?
I'm like, no,
I just
sorry.
want to go home.
Also, 17-year-olds aren't cute.
Gross.
You know what I mean? That's minging. Mr. B agrees. They get in the back of the car and he has a lovely conversation with them. They're friendly and kind. He thinks to himself, what a great pair of kids. He said, what a great pair of tits.
Honestly.
What
Mr. B's looking in those fucking rear view. Great pair of tits.
Stunning
there.
pair of titties. What a great pair of kids. That's such a weird way to phrase it though, because it does sound like tits. Okay. During the journey home, the girl suddenly says, here's fine. Mr. B, confused, replies with a, but we're in the middle of a country lane in the middle of nowhere. With a very stern but almost blank look on her face, the girl responds by saying, stop the car. This is where we leave. The way she spoke and looked at him sent shivers down his spine. I'm going to try it again then. Stop the car. This is where we leave.
I actually think that first one you did was
I
really
just think that was a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
Yeah, it's good.
The way she spoke and looked at him sent shivers down his spine. He obliged with her request, and the two went off into the fog, to what looked like in the middle of nothingness. Mr. B thought it was a very strange encounter and woke up the next morning feeling incredibly uneasy. He drove his normal route to school, and as he approached the area where the house was, he kept an eye out for it, but the road just kept going. Oh, I've got the wrong place. I'm looking too soon. All the roads look the same anyway, he thought to himself, but the road continued and there was nothing, just road. Mr. B thought about the mystery house and the look on the girl's face all day and made sure to leave school early that day when it was still light. He drove to where he thought the house was and pulled up on the side of the road. He gets out of the car and up on the grass bank where he believed the house was. As he's looking for the signs of a house being there, a farmer approaches him. Can I help you? Don't know why it sounds like Scooby-Doo.
Can I help you, lad?
Yeah, I drove past a house yesterday and gave some kids a lift home, but I'm sure it was here, but it's literally just disappeared. Mr. B laughed to ease the awkwardness as he felt... Mr. B laughed to ease the awkwardness he felt about saying something that would appear so bizarre. The farmer's face went white. Was it a boy and a girl you gave a lift to? Well, yeah, it was. The farmer looked concerned. You better read this, lad. He handed Mr. B a newspaper. But this is from 1987. It's 2012. Turn it over, the farmer says. Mr. B follows his instruction. Headline. 2 teens killed in a road traffic accident by drunk speeding driver when walking home from local farmhouse party. Mr. B looks at the photo and it was the girl and her boyfriend who he'd given a lift to the previous night. My mum's friend told me that he was so traumatised that he had to go into serious therapy and couldn't leave the house, and he never returned to school. The end.
Oh my God, Mr. B.
Mr. B.
Mr.
And
B.
what a great pair of tits.
What a great pair of tits.
I would be even more freaked out by that than anything else because you've never once suspected that that is a ghost.
No.
Like if we were to leave this podcast studio now
Yeah.
and someone came up and went, "Isn't it a shame about Susie?" And I'd go, what?
Yeah,
And they were like,
yeah.
well, she died at an orgy the other day because she was strung up like a chicken.
I can't stop going.
And
One day they will be the
I
end
told
of
her
me.
that it would be the death of her.
Yeah.
If she kept, they strung her up to the chandelier like a hog-tied pig. And now, she's fallen from it and she crashed
Or
to
maybe
her death.
no one
I'd be
took me
like,
down like that Alton Towers incident where they just kept hanging upside
yes,
down.
Alton Towers.
Alton Towers.
Alton Towers.
Alton.
Alton,
Right.
please.
Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
that'd freak me out more, I think, because I'd be like, I
Yeah.
didn't even realise. That was a gorgeous story. You didn't say whether I could say your name or not, but thank you so much.
Do we not know?
Shall I say first name?
Yeah.
First name. That was from Hayley.
Thank you,
Thank
Hayley.
you. Oh, Hayley May. Sorry, Hayley May.
Hayley May.
Thank you. That was a gorgeous story and written beautifully.
It was. God, I fucking love our Huns in the Wild. Would you like another?
Yes, please.
This is from Cassie. Hi, I'm a big fan and I love hearing the stories you tell. I have one that might spark your interest.
Oh, good.
7 years ago, me and my 2 kids moved into a new home. We were very lucky. We bought the house as it was a very low cost for such a big space. We painted in the spring and then we moved in during the summer. Whilst living in our home, I began to get scratches and bruises along my legs. Must be the mosquitoes, I thought. Later on, I mentioned it to my husband. But then my 4-year-old daughter started shouting out loud, "Don't worry, Mummy, the devil just wants to be nice."
No, thank you.
Those words could barely make me sleep that night. I thought about what she said. How could she know what the devil is? Alice, my youngest, doesn't watch YouTube, only things like Peppa Pig and Ben and Holly. I don't know who Ben and Holly are, but maybe that's a kids thing.
Kids thing. I don't think I know Ben and Holly. They don't
No.
sound like this morning presenters.
Yeah. The next night, more scratches led up to my thighs and fingertips. I really started to get worried. Later on, Alice started singing a German song my grandmother would sing when she'd bake. But the thing is, my grandmother is dead and she's never met Alice. And Alice doesn't know how to speak German. I contacted a child therapist to discuss these things and he asked for a session. 2 months later, no scratches and my child was fine. But one night, I heard a whistle outside with the same tune of the German song my daughter was singing. I looked outside and discovered Alice in the snow. I ran out to get her, but no one was there. Alice was actually in her bed. I got to sleep, but a week later I heard that same tune whistling along the street. And then suddenly, my scratches are gone.
Oh, spooky.
That's almost like the sort of beginning of a synopsis of a film.
Yeah,
You know,
I
the
was
German-
yeah, I could very see it.
You know?
Could very see it.
I could very see it, like the doppelganger of Alice.
Yeah,
The German grandmother.
cheeky. What am I talking about?
Cheeky
The
cheeky.
creepy German
Yeah, and
fair, like,
yeah, and the
nursery
cheeky girls.
rhyme.
Yeah.
and the cheeky girls.
Yeah, get them in. You know, one of
I
them is
don't
a
think-
used car salesman now.
Shut up.
Yeah, one of them just sells
Do you know
cars.
what? I bet they got that tomato song out and they were like, "This is number 2."
Tomatoes.
Yeah, the tomato, the tomato song.
Isn't that less ketchup?
Last ketchup, tomato sauce.
Yeah, but last ketchup is a different. That's not cheeky girls.
What?
Last ketchup is a band,
What?
isn't it?
No. No, these cheeky girls did Last Ketchup, didn't they? The song.
No, last ketchup is the band.
I'm sorry. I know this is a waste of time. But...
Yeah, Susie's right.
What?
Because I said a hey is the name of the song.
Oh, yeah.
I said a hey,
Uh-huh.
a hey, and
Uh-huh,
that's
that's
by
right.
Last Ketchup.
Wow, I would have bet money on that being the cheeky
Oh,
girls.
I wish we'd done some fucking money on that.
Cheeky girls did do another song. I put Trek Guild because I'm fucking cheeky girls songs. I'm sorry, I have to know.
Lembit Opic. God,
Oh,
throwback.
yeah.
Jumbo.
That was a naughty thing that happened, wasn't it? They did have a cheeky Christmas, didn't they?
Didn't we all?
Touch my bum, don't be shy.
Right, Hannah, I would like a story, please.
Sorry.
Story.
I'm fucking...
Please, please.
Okay.
give me the story.
This is from Layla.
Layla.
When I was younger, I lived in a very old block of flats. At first, I did not know the history behind these flats. My mum had me young and had lived in the flat before I was born. She would throw parties, have people over, and everyone, including her, always had a strange feeling about the flat, but thought nothing of it, as none of them seemed to believe in that stuff. Until I was born. There was always very bad smells in my room, and no matter what my mum tried, she couldn't get rid of it. Again, she thought nothing of it. Skip forward a few years and I must have been about 4 or 5. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was lying in bed and I had an IKEA flower light which had suddenly switched off after being on all night. Confused, I kept still in my bed until a sudden wave of emotion came over me. I began crying my eyes out and I wasn't sure why. I closed my eyes trying to fall back asleep when I woke up to what felt like someone running their fingers along my arm. I opened my eyes and there's a youngish looking lady in a nurse's uniform in front of me. She stood there watching me. She made no movement, she just watched. This continued every night. She began standing at the end of my bed instead of next to me. Nobody believed 4-year-old me and nobody does to this day. Now I'm older, I've done research as I was so curious about the history of these flats. It turns out that they were an old mental institution which had opened in 1859, closed down in 1995 and turned into flats. Suddenly, what I had seen all made sense.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I love it when it's got a historic element.
Oh, a historic element. I meant to say, do you know, bit of a fun fact, do you know when the last witch was imprisoned
No.
in the UK?
Go on.
the 1940s.
What?
Isn't that mad? Like
Really?
1944, yeah. That was the last time somebody was put in prison for being a witch. That's not that long ago.
Mm,
I think my nan was born
I
then.
want facts about that.
Well, Stephen was Googling it yesterday. When?
But who?
Was-
Wait, no. Why? I'm sniffing a bit of BS.
Imprisoned.
Like, what? I'm struggling to believe this.
It was in Scotland. Scotland's last witch was convicted under the 1735 Witchcraft Act in 1944.
Do we know who or why?
Probably can find out.
What? The
Helen
fuck?
Duncan in Edinburgh.
Always a Helen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Helen Duncan. I want to know
Helen
more
Duncan.
about her.
Duncan. Yeah, she was a
what
clairvoyant and
happened?
medium. That's...
I'm assuming that
Yeah.
when did they abolish the?
There's a whole thingy on it on the Mercat tours about Helen Duncan. She was
Oh my
she was in prison in
God.
1944. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, we
That is
haven't. We
insane.
haven't really developed as a society all that much.
Do you know what? I'm going to do a bit on Helen Duncan next week.
Yes, I'd like that.
Okay. Give
Yeah,
yourself
do
some
not
homework.
forget. Okay,
Yeah, I will.
would you like another creepy of the week?
Yes, please.
This is from Niamh. Hey, Ghost Huns, love
Hi,
your
Niamh.
podcast, especially in the morning doing my makeup.
Oh, yeah, that's when I listen to podcasts.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a true story my friend told me a while ago. It's weird that I'm not holding my phone. I don't like it. This is a true story my friend told me a while ago. I still think about it every once in a while, and this is a true story. This is based in a rural town where, let's name him John, stayed. John was a physiologist, and he had this one client who was an older lady who needed help with her joints. He would regularly have regular weekly visits with the greet of her bubbly husband at the door before coming into the living room where his wife would be waiting like normal and usual. One normally scheduled day, John headed out to his car to head to his client. He normally goes through the back road type of ways to get to her, like roads through mountains that were almost single track. While John was driving across a mountainous area with roads that you couldn't see the other side when going round an edge, he noticed a hearse driving in front of him as he turned the corner. He thought nothing of it and carried on driving through these winding roads. Something unusual is that this hearse was driving faster than you would driving round a mountain. Until when the hearse turned the corner, he noticed no one driving the vehicle. He didn't see anyone in any of the reflections of the mirrors, despite there being a casket in the back with flowers around. Just about 1 mile away from the old lady's house, he was still driving along the rural roads with no sight of what's coming ahead. When the hearse disappeared round the corner, John squints with disbelief. Surely it's pulled over. His first thought, but no one was on the lay-by. John carries on for the rest of the mile. When he pulls up to the old couple's house, he knocks on the door like usual. "John?" the husband says in a confused manner. "Hello, sir, is everything all right?" He gets a nervy feeling when he doesn't get let in straight away. Come in, the husband says, letting in John to the main room. John looks to see where his wife is, but not waiting there for her usual physio appointment. The wife's husband takes a sigh, sitting down. "Did you not get my email, John?" "Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry." Her husband cuts him off. "Listen, son. Well, my wife, she's passed away. Well, she did a couple of days ago. Her funeral was yesterday. I wanted you to be there for all you've done for her, but I haven't had service, and I'm guessing that's why my email didn't go through."
Oh.
John looks confused but horrified. "You look like you've seen a ghost, John," the husband says, trying to lighten the mood. "Well, I think I have indeed," John replies, not lifting the expression on his face. "You what?" The husband's smile fades. "Well, on the way here, I saw a hearse, but with no driver." The husband's face lightens with warmth. "Well, I tell you, that's her telling you she's not here." He chuckles softly. I don't know much after that of the story, but it is sure
No, neither do I.
But it's sure scary and heartwarming. And that's from Niamh. Thank you, Niamh.
Thank you, Niamh. God, that was stunning. Great.
Stunning.
Thank you, love. Okay, shall we do one more, Little?
Yeah.
Hey, Ghost Huns. This is from Lily.
Lily.
Hey, Ghost Huns. Love the podcast so much. I've sent an email before of one of my spiritual experiences, but I thought I'd send another one. Well, we will dig that out at some other point, Lily. I was about 2 to 3 when this happened and my parents told me this story. I used to live in a 3-story house, my room being on the top floor of my parents. This is very similar to the last one I've just read, it was from Layla. Layla, Lily, similar vibes.
Maybe it's Layla's burner account.
Yeah, she's like, these bitches better read out my
Lily and
story.
Lily is Layla, you know?
Just hold it then. I used to live in a 3-story house, my room being on the top floor and my parents on the middle. Obviously, I was a toddler when I lived in this house, as I've said, but there was a ghost here that I used to play with. I named him John. That's weird.
That is weird.
Those last 3 stories have all married together.
Oh.
I named him John. The only memory I have of this ghost is when he threw a teddy across my room, but my mum and dad have a story that they have told me. I was sleeping at my nana's for the night, my nana's, grandma's, whatever. My parents were home. They heard footsteps in my bedroom, which was directly above their room. They were heavy footsteps walking around my cot, and my dad thinks that he was looking for me as I wasn't in my bed. Thank you. Very good. They heard the footsteps move around my cot to the stairs. The ghost walked down the stairs one by one, very slowly. Very good. Until the footsteps were outside my parents' room. My mum said to my dad that because he was the closest to the door, he would have to go see if anybody was there. Yeah, that's a really good point. My dad said he could see the outline of a body through the gap under the door, but when he opened it, nobody was there.
Oh, no.
My dad said he could... She's going to read the same fucking thing again. But there was no one there. He shouted for the ghost to leave them alone and went back to bed. The next day, my dad rang a priest who came over immediately. As soon as the priest came, he said to my parents that the entity wasn't a bad one, but had previously died in the house before we had bought it. The ghost was like my protector, and I wish I still lived in that house so I could communicate with John, and I wonder if he is still there.
Oh.
That's cute,
It's
isn't
weird
it?
how these all have a, like, connecting thread.
It was a bit
The
strange.
Johns and the...
That could all be from the same house.
It could be. Do we have to have... Should I do one last little?
Yes.
And then I've got a
I
little...
think we've said that the past 4 times. But yeah, they are all quite little, so we do have enough time.
Okay. Hi, my name is Paul, and I would say I love your podcasts. Oh, well, I would. You should. I can't go on to my day without listening to your creepy stories. I hope you two have a good day, and here's my story.
I thought he was going to say, I would love to say that I love your podcast, but it's shit.
Yeah. This happened to me 8 years ago in the Philippines. I have a brother who is 2 years younger than me, and at that time, I was 14. Our family decided to go on vacation, and we rented an apartment close to the beach we were going to. It was just 2 miles away from the beach. We tried to book a hotel at the beach, but it was fully booked, so we had no choice but to stay at the hotel 2 miles away. It was a Sunday night, and we just returned from the beach after a long swim. My brother and I decided to stay in the second room, which had a double bunk bed with 2 beds stacked on top of each other. My brother chose to sleep on the top bunk while I opted for the bottom. After settling in, we turned off all the lights in the room. I could see the light coming from the streetlight bleeding through our windows and blinds. After I went to bed, I decided to watch a movie. I think a few hours had passed and I hadn't realised I'd dozed off. I checked the time and it was 3:16 a.m. My phone was already at 10%, so I plugged it in and I went back to sleep. A few minutes later, I heard my brother scratching. But the scratching was very unnerving because he was scratching way too hard. Like he was scratching his skin off. Bothered, I decided to kick my brother's bed and I heard him giggling. Stop it, I'm trying to sleep. After that, I heard him giggle more. I was scared at that time because my brother is easily scared and him scaring me in the middle of the night was unusual. I tried to brush it off, thinking my brother was just messing with me. After a few minutes, I heard him saying my first name repeatedly, which was odd because he always calls me by my middle name. I dozed off. Morning came, and I hurriedly stood up and saw that my brother wasn't in his bed anymore. I went to the kitchen, saw him playing with my mum's phone. I pinched him and said, "Why were you messing with me last night?" "What do you mean?" he asked. "You were literally trying to scare me last night," I said. "No, I slept with Mum and Dad last night because I was scared sleeping at the top of the bunk bed."
Oh, no.
I didn't believe him, so I went to my parents to confirm it, and they said that my brother did indeed sleep in their bed. So who was the kid trying to scare me from that night? After that incident, we always hear child laughter from our bedroom whenever we were outside. It got so horrible that the owner decided to bless the room. and we left that apartment ever since. I after the incident, I decided to look through the hotel's history, and I found out that there's a child who was killed in the same room me and my brother stayed in by his own parents.
Oh my God.
Horrendous.
That is
But don't you think that is like the ghost of the kid?
Yeah, definitely. That is
And
gross.
also the giggling and the scratching.
There's
Oh,
nothing more terrifying than
thank you, JP. And all the whilst thinking it's your brother.
I
Anyway.
know. Shall we do a We Get Haunted so you don't have to? Do you have a game,
Yes,
Susie?
I do. So let's
Hit me with your rhythm stick. Oh, she's got a props. Ah, it's your cauldron.
It's my cauldron. So I'm going to make
This
you a
is
little
exciting.
poshi.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh, it's going to be minging in it. She's getting me back. Oh, she's getting me back. Oh.
It's going to be really delish.
I bet it looks delish already.
What do you want me to remedy?
What's wrong with me at the minute? I'd quite like some volume in my hair.
Okay, so orange is bountiful, so that will give you volume.
Oh right, yeah.
Anything else?
I'd like
Quick.
Fuck. I'd like my paws to be smaller
Well,
in my face.
that's very useful because I've got you some immune boosting raspberry lemonade. That's going to go
That'll change
in there.
my.
Now you have to down that.
Oh, that's going to be delicious.
Absolutely
That's
stunning.
going to be stunning. Do I
So
have to-
take
is
the
there-
cauldron.
Is there a spell?
Yes, there is. So sit down
Yeah, there is.
and repeat after me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I'm
All-
going to drink this.
All I am looking for is volume.
All I am looking for is volume.
Come with me on this journey.
Come with me on this journey.
Stir it around.
Stir it
Let
around.
the lemonade stir.
The lemonade stir.
And I will be there
And I will be there.
with the big volume in my hair.
With a big volume in my hair. What about my paws?
And pause.
And paws.
Go. Oh God, she's actually. Right. Well, thank you for that. That have you?
I feel like my paws are going to be better.
Yeah.
My hair's going to be bigger. Fabulous.
That has been episode 73.
That's been gorgeous. Thank you.
And we've done a potion.
Bye. Gorge fab. Sorted.